A room without books is like a body without a soul. 6 mistakes mankind keeps making century after century. Believing that personal gain is made by crushing others. Worrying about things that cannot be changed or corrected. Insisting that a thing is impossible because we cannot accomplish it. Refusing to set aside trivial preferences. Neglecting development and refinement of the mind. Attempting to compel others to believe and live as we do. To be ignorant of what occurred before you were born is to remain always a child. For what is the worth of human life, unless it is woven into the life of our ancestors by the records of history? In times of war, the law falls silent. If we are not ashamed to think it, we should not be ashamed to say it. Not for ourselves alone are we born. Friendship improves happiness, and abates misery, by doubling our joys, and dividing our grief. Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others. For there is but one essential justice which cements society, and one law which establishes this justice. This law is right reason, which is the true rule of all commandments and prohibitions. Whoever neglects this law, whether written or unwritten, is necessarily unjust and wicked. Not to know what has been transacted in former times is to be always a child. If no use is made of the labors of past ages, the world must remain always in the infancy of knowledge. The authority of those who teach is often an obstacle to those who want to learn. The life given us, by nature, is short, but the memory of a well-spent life is eternal. While there's life, there's hope. The life of the dead is set in the memory of the living. Politicians are not born, they are excreted. The face is a picture of the mind with the eyes as its interpreter. The shifts of fortune test the reliability of friends. To study philosophy is nothing but to prepare oneself to die. The life of the dead is placed on the memories of the living. The love you gave in life keeps people alive beyond their time. Anyone who was given love will always live on in another's heart. I criticize by creation, not by finding fault. It is not by muscle, speed, or physical dexterity that great things are achieved, but by reflection, force of character, and judgment. What is morally wrong can never be advantageous, even when it enables you to make some gain that you believe to be to your advantage. The mere act of believing that some wrongful course of action constitutes an advantage is pernicious. We must not say every mistake is a foolish one. It is foolish to tear one's hair in grief, as though sorrow would be made less by baldness. It is a great thing to know your vices. I am not ashamed to confess I am ignorant of what I do not know. Your enemies can kill you, but only your friends can hurt you. Our span of life is brief, but is long enough for us to live well and honestly. The enemy is within the gates. It is with our own luxury, our own folly, our own criminality that we have to contend. The function of wisdom is to discriminate between good and evil. Law applied to its extreme is the greatest injustice. Any man can make mistakes, but only an idiot persists in his error. Knowledge which is divorced from justice may be called cunning rather than wisdom. No one is so old as to think that he cannot live one more year. Though silence is not necessarily an admission, it is not a denial, either. Nobody can give you wiser advice than yourself. If you heed yourself, you'll never go wrong. Never injure a friend, even in jest. God's law is right reason. When perfectly understood, it is called wisdom. When applied by government in regulating human relations, it is called justice. To be content with what we possess is the greatest and most secure of riches.